Hey everybody, this is Talkative Carl back again for another video game spoiler review. This one's gonna be fairly quick because it's just a DLC, free DLC of the God of War Ragnarok dub Valhalla. Very interesting plot, and I gotta just say right off the bat, which is Santa Monica proves to all these crazy companies, Blizzard and maybe not Naughty Dog, but all these video game companies that like to monetize the crap out of a lot of customers, prove that you not only trust your consumers, but you're not treating them like idiots or just cash cows, where you can, if you get like a lot of time and you've made like a pretty good brand, you can put out a DLC free, because a lot of you big wigs, the only people that should be monetizing anything are like indie companies, like the Multiverses game. It's the only game, like one of those kind of games that I can understand why they gotta monetize, because they ain't part of no big company. Something like Capcom or Blizzard or Naughty Dog or so on. These big companies, they got name recognition, doesn't need to monetize the crap out of their consumers. Whoever like owns like a Call of Duty and stuff like that, it's excessive to a certain point. And Santa Monica proved that you can do this, and like you see like all these little outfits that Kratos can use in this DLC. You don't need to pay for all that stuff. You just have it once you progress further along into the game. So it's just like, man, this is really good. I just want to put that out there right off the bat, because you get to play like the old school Kratos, or even like the opening to God of War Ragnarok, where you got that bear skin thing, so you can actually play as that. And it's like, wow, that is really good. I'd never done it. I only found out after the fact because I was so concerned with trying to get to the end, because I'm more so geared towards what's the narrative here. And the narrative is so solid, where Freya wants Kratos to take over as the new God of War, and at least for the Norwegian lands, for Norse mythology, to be like to help her run things. And he is like very hesitant on even taking another job, because he was a God of War before, and all his left was death and destruction in his wake, and like a darn near destruction of the Greece lands, of ancient Greece. And that's like he's been running away from all that since. And he gets this invitation to go to these doors that leads into Valhalla, which is like the Norse afterlife. And just like Norse afterlife, and certain, I forgot what the typical name for these type of gameplay mechanics, but where you die and start back from the beginning. But it's kind of akin to Valhalla, where you fight and then die, then you reanimate and then go to fight again. So it all makes sense in that way of how Valhalla will work. And he's trying to figure out, okay, who sent him this mysterious letter. So he goes through this gauntlet, fighting past enemies throughout the 9 realms, until he reaches to a certain upper echelon, where it slowly stops being Norse mythology and now Greek mythology again, because Valhalla is playing on your mindscape. Essentially, you're living certain moments in your life, and you start seeing Greek architecture and Greek enemies that he used to fight back in the older God of War games, which is very cool. You're fighting Greek mythological creatures with your Blades of Exile weapons, but also with your Norse weapons now. And so these like whole mismatch of all the Greek and Norse stuff mixing together, which is so cool. Two areas that never would have, like, because they live in two different timelines and they're kind of just merging along, because Greece was way like Bronze Age or something like that. It's like way in earlier than what we got with the Viking Age, where it's more of the Iron Age. Then Kratos reconnects, this is all in his mind technically, reconnects with the head of Helios, who switches out at a certain point from Mimir to him. And he's just taunting him and like, berating him. Oh, hey Kratos, long time no see. Killed any pantheons and destroyed any civilizations recently? Given the fact that this is Kratos' mind, speaking this ill stuff to him. But I imagine it's something that, Helios probably, in a way, in some cases, would say. Because I imagine he would not feel too happy with Kratos, obviously, for murdering him. And he reaches to the top and he meets up with Tyr, who's the one who sent the letter, pretty much acting as Kratos' therapist in a way. And it's so kind of poetic, where a different god of war has to counsel a man who was used and abused by his own god of war from a different land that took advantage of him at a moment's weakness. And of course, the story where it's like, as Tyr is like showing him images of stuff that happened, but at a different perspective. Like, you were a soldier in the Spartan army. Your duty was to protect your lands. Why? Well, the barbarians was encroaching on our lands, and Tyr asked, well, what would have happened if you didn't do your job? Well, they would have ran rapid, took over, killed a lot of our people, enslaved the rest, that kind of thing. Well, there you go. All you saw is that you your little deal with Ares, but you realize that he took advantage of that one, but he was essentially your deity as part of the Spartan, in the area where he's from. His deity he would have worshipped would have been Ares, so he would have beseeched to him to help because he was on the back foot. So nobody blames you for being put in a compromising position to where that you have to do what you can to stop these large forces from taking over your land, from doing all kinds of atrocities that what they would do. You knew exactly what they would have done if you have lost. So nobody would have, nobody begrudged you for this kind of situation. You should not begrudge yourself. You were a soldier, you had like a duty, and you would have done anything to protect your family and your home. Even pledge your services to a god of war. Then I like this moment where Kratos, in his own way, tried to apologize to Helios. Of course, Helios is not trying to hear it, but as I mentioned in my walkthrough, it's like that apology is more so will be for Kratos' own benefit, not just to seek any type of an acceptance of the apologies from Helios, whether it's in his mind or not. But it would have done him great to do so. But I also would have wished, because we still have not that we still have that unresolved issue, which I kind of wish they would have played into a little bit more. Since you see Helios, I want to see Athena again, because we see that image of her. Don't know if that was in his mind. There was an image of her in not Ragnarok, but before Ragnarok, the game before Ragnarok, where you still, see like the ghost of Athena, which she should still be out there. It's not like she seemingly went away, but as she still haunts him in a way. But it could also be that she's still there, always lingering, always near, just like a arm's length away, always watching kind of situation. It'd be nice to get like a completion of that, a nice bow on that narrative, where every time Kratos comes back, he meets up with certain gods, even his father Zeus, and have like, an actual sit down and talk. That he, Kratos will, in the end, will come to realize that I, should have found like a different way. And the way I handled it was arrogant, stupid, and selfish. I knew what I had to do, but I could have gone about it an entirely different way. But this just shows the growth of Kratos, because he knows he was young and arrogant and just selfish. And I kind of wish they would have like bring in like Poseidon and Athena and like Hermes and Hades and all these different people. Maybe not everybody, but at least like the crucial ones, so that way we can have some kind of powwow. And it's like, look, I'm sorry, they show about the Pandora's box and like, and they have like a moment where it's like, you did what you had to. We were affected by the box. I was corrupted, and like have like a moment with Zeus. It's like have like a father and son moment. It's like, you have like a moment with like Kratos, where it's like you have like a grandson. His name was Atreus. He's he's a good boy, strong. You would have been proud. And have like a nice little moment. That would have been great for Kratos to have like a father and son moment with Zeus. Kind of wish they had it. That's the only big criticism I have of this DLC. Just to wrap up the whole situation, what happened with Athena and them. And I like these little trinkets. You see like the key to this boat that Kratos, essentially sacrificed the life of this boat captain to this Hydra that he ends up killing. And he tells Mimir, it's like, yeah, I could have saved this guy. He done no ill will to me. It would have, it wouldn't have been out my way to help this guy in this time of need, but I chose, the purpose of revenge over saving this guy's life that have done me no harm. And like, it's one of my regrets in my young life that, I sacrificed many people's lives in my quest for revenge. There's plenty of people that did not need to die that I let die. Even to the moment where, that moment where he sacrificed this guy in his cage, to this like, Cerberus type of creature that we remember from like God of War 3. And it's like I did not need to sacrifice this poor man's life. He was in cage. I could have helped him, but I chose not to. He was a means to it, and that was cruel, and I really shouldn't have done that. And same thing with like Pandora, where he saw like another, like a substitute daughter in a way. And she knew what she had to do in order to, help stop Zeus and his machinations. But it also sacrificed Hephaestus, who all he wanted to do is protect Pandora, his daughter. But I killed this guy, and like I wouldn't have done no different from what he would have done if something happened to Atreus. Uh, so like all that stuff is really good. This is pretty much like, you know, Kratos going through a therapy session, like a very hardcore therapy session of realizing, you know, you're not who you were. And I love the moments where he's like having this like, you know, sparring match with Tyr at least 3 times. Each time he's utilizing weapons from different cultures: a katana, a maquito from Mayan culture, a katana from Japanese culture, and a kopis from Egyptian culture, and of course a spear and shield from Greek culture, kind of like a phalanx type of thing. And it's like very cool because like he's been around to these different cultures and would have picked up, you know, how to utilize weapons because he's a god of war too. You've seen from the previous game, he's had like a treasure trove filled with different artifacts from different cultures he traveled around the world to visit. Very cool stuff, and I really wish they dive more into that. It's really good stuff. And then at the end, he finally meets up with his younger self sitting on the throne, where I kind of wish they brought back the previous voice actor who voices Kratos before, but I think like Santa Monica and the God of War production have kind of like a falling out with that actor. But it would have been cool to have these two, you know, older Kratos talk with his younger self, and he just confronts his younger self. Glad it's not like a fighting match. It's just, no, I'm confronting myself and telling myself how stupid I was, and we have to be better. And so in the end, he come to realize he doesn't need to be a god of war, because the throne can be wherever you choose to make it to be. The throne doesn't make you, you make the throne, in a sense. So instead of being a god of war, he is a god of hope, which is a nice twist. So it shows the growth of Kratos. Very impressive arc. Very good. This is, you know, like my biggest criticism is just like the whole situation of you introducing Helios. You would think like, okay, show Zeus and Athena at the very least to show that, because they made like a bigger impact on his, like the two guys that make a bigger impact on his life out of the other guys that he killed. And just, you know, having a talk with them and reconciling in a way, just to wrap up that narrative. Maybe wherever another God of War game, because there's only going to be 2 games set in the Norse regions. Who knows if they're making another God of War game, what culture they'll plop him into. Because it can't be Christianity, because I think if you want to wrap up the whole entire God of War franchise, the last thing you need to tackle will be how it ends, will be the Christianity culture. That would make sense. But prior to that, maybe Japanese culture, because in the comics he stopped in Egypt. It wasn't like a full adventure in Egypt, meeting all these different Egyptian deities. So you can possibly circle back to that. And who knows, like, you know, maybe Tyr's weapons he showed kind of hinted maybe like Kratos hopping into Mayan culture, dealing with their deities, and the Japanese culture dealing with their deities, and Egyptian. And just see like Kratos utilizing different weapons akin to what's in their region, mixing with his Greek and Norse weapons he's been using so far. That'll be really dope. But yeah, that's what I really want to talk about. It's very short, but very cool narrative. Now, cannot wait to see how this leads. This is a very good franchise. But I will see you guys tomorrow for more. Well, it's gonna be kind of late. I'm gonna stop after work. I'm going to go see the um Aquaman 2, and then do a review this Saturday. But I should be back home around like 6-ish and hop in to play some more Diablo 4. Now that I've wrapped up, God of War and do that DLC, I can get back to more Diablo 4. Anyway, have a good night. I'll see you guys this weekend. Happy holidays. And yeah, take care of yourselves, and hope you have like a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, all that stuff. Take care, everybody.